Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited. And Josh, take it away.
All right, well, thank you guys for the introduction. My name is Josh Sato. I am the Security and Collaboration BD for Cisco. So wanting to talk today and just kind of run through some of the discussion, because I know we have a short amount of time, but want to really talk about these hybrid workplaces and these hybrid classroom solutions from Cisco, and mainly around Webex and what this collaboration platform is really bringing. You know, what updates have they actually come out with? What is this blueprint of this hybrid work environment? And what have they done kind of within the past couple of months and years to really expand on some of these capabilities? And then really looking at these hybrid classrooms, what are we doing to kind of solve those as well? So first, just talking about some of the recent kind of acquisitions that Cisco Webex is really making. So they announced their acquisition of Babel Labs, which is one of the leaders in noise removal and speech enhancement. So as we look at kind of our environment right now, you know, work can really be from anywhere. You know, it's that remote work, it's that kind of, you know, trying to being able to work from anywhere, but also, you know, having these noise removal types of things also removes those types of distractions, makes those conversation and those video conversations a little bit more professional. So the way that Babel Labs is really going to be able to help Webex is creating that noise removal, but building it in natively. So being able to distinguish, you know, human voices from background noises by utilizing that AI, by removing those background noises. So as you're working from home, you know, we have a lot of different distractions. You have children that may be learning from home. You have people dropping off packages. You have landscapers or whatever else is going on. So these are distractions that can come into meetings, but also looking at it as enhancing those voices, you know, no matter what language you're actually speaking. So if you're a global organization or if you're having conversations with people, it's still enabled to enhance those no matter what language you're speaking. And then, you know, really important is all that processing for that noise removal is going to be done natively. It's not going to be going out to a cloud. You're not going to have to, you know, have any type of compliance or security risks or even privacy risks. It's not being sent out. It's going to stay locally on that system itself. So looking at Webex and thinking about these types of acquisitions and solutions, Webex is getting better and better each and every time they release a new update. Within the past updates, and just looking at what they've kind of done, they've brought in these background blurrings or replacing the backgrounds. You have these real-time captions and transcriptions, but also creating this less, you know, packet loss as we're having these more and more video chats, but also as we're collaborating with our teams too, being able to go into breakout rooms or into our room spaces and also whiteboard, just so it's like we're working inside of an actual office, but we're still having that, you know, hybrid workplace or those kind of distant kind of working, but we're still able to feel like we're in the same office as each other. And then just looking at the past few years, you know, what Cisco and Webex have really done kind of through leading this innovation and creating this better user experience. So having in 2017 these high quality audio enhancements and some of the noise detection suppression as well, but also building in some of these AI capabilities the next year. And then within 2019, realizing, you know, what are these kind of intelligent functions that we can do around zero touch, making it very easy for people to go into meetings to make it, you know, not as hard for them to be able to get in and, you know, adopt the platform and actually see the use case and benefit of it. But also looking at the in-meeting assistance in real time, creating these captions, transcriptions, and note-taking, and then looking at both the Babel Labs integration coming up here, you know, this even newer noise removal and voice enhancement just to give it that better experience. So Cisco's blueprint for this hybrid workplace is really creating this 10 times better type of experience and interactions, but it's really going to be empowering those remote users, enabling that safe kind of hybrid workplace, while also, you know, those end users are going to be the customers kind of IT. So it's building those exceptional customer experience and that adoption, so you're getting the proof of value and that ROI, you know, back as soon as you can. And then very importantly, it's going to be one tool to manage, to be able to get insights out of for all kind of your collaboration needs. And we'll kind of look at this in the next slide. So, you know, from the end user side of it, creating this 10 times better experience, we've got this better than being there. And that's what Cisco and Webex is really trying to create by having your own personal meetings. You have these quality of life features like people insights, noise background reduction. You've got your backgrounds in projects. You've got insights, during and after meetings. But, one side that we really have to think about as well is what is visibility does IT really have into it, right? So it's making IT hum by actively, proactively creating these AI-driven tips and optimization experiences, looking at some of the analytics and real-time diagnosis, but also looking at what kind of sensor, user, or workflow policy you can actually build into Control Hub as well. So it's providing the tools back to IT to be able to see the visibility into what that collaboration environment looks like. Going back to the end user side of it, just looking at what Cisco's Webex kind of commitment is to this feature velocity. And what the feature velocity is these new features they keep adding in within these new updates, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it's something that Cisco is very committed to. Every single release, they want to make sure they're adding onto the platform, making the user experience that much better from their side of it. So as we look at, what is Cisco really doing to help with this remote worker, this safe return, and kind of these office experiences to help out with it. So one thing that has been requested, a lot is these remote breakout rooms to efficiently, be able to work to go into these different types of meetings. So if we're conducting interviews, if we're doing workshops or planning sessions, or even, maybe negotiating, we can go into these separate breakout rooms, even ad hoc. So it's something that's been asked within the Webex platform. So now you're actually able to have these ad hoc breakout rooms. You're able to set up those breakout rooms before, but it's something that's been a requested feature, and it's now part of Cisco with this 40.9 release, which actually came out at the end of September. So it's already live within the actual platform right now. And then next, looking at some of the other features. So as we have more people going to this hybrid workplace, you have a lot of people working from mobile. So as we look at, a lot of collaboration platforms, usually you have, your desktop interface, it's going to work, it's going to have the same exact tools. But usually as you start to go down kind of that device stack, if you go to, a mobile type of device, either a tablet or a phone, you're not kind of getting that same experience. It's always been kind of seen as kind of something that's on the back burner for them. So what Cisco's done is they want to create the same feel as using the desktop application. So on the actual mobile side of it, they've built in the same amount of kind of features that you're able to have on your mobile device. So one thing that I love is this peek feature. So if I'm chatting with someone and I'm off site and maybe I don't have time to answer them back right away, if they message me, if I look at that, they can see that I've actually read it. So they're probably waiting for me to respond to it. Now I can do a long press on my cell phone. I can actually peek into it just to see if, hey, is this something I need to answer right now, or can I wait till I get back to the office? But at least I'm able to read it and see what it says, but it doesn't actually show the other person that I've read it yet until I choose to actually respond. So kind of these small but really, really nice features that they're actually building into it. And then, looking at this return of going back into the office, creating this touchless, consistent experience kind of from the desktop to even the boardroom. So, as I'm a user, if I'm going down to my desk, I'm able to control my IP desk phone from my laptop. If I have a headset, I'm able to wirelessly pair it to my actual workspace phone, so I'm not really having to touch anything. And the same thing about going into some of these boardrooms or meeting rooms. If you've got these Webex devices with the AI assistant, you're actually able to have these voice controls so you can launch straight into your meeting without having to touch anything. So it's creating these zero kind of touch environments as well. And then next, just talking about kind of what is the integration and what is Cisco really doing to kind of open up the platform to make it so they can integrate in with other platforms. So this is a big one that's come out within this Microsoft Interop and CVI. So if your organization is maybe using Microsoft Teams, maybe internally for meetings, but you'd like to use Webex messaging, because people are kind of used to using it. Now you can have your Webex devices be able to launch into Microsoft Teams meetings through CVI, so you're able to have that exact same experience. But you're able to kind of utilize both platforms. But what's great is it's creating this better user experience, because for them, it seems like a seamless transition. I can launch it straight from my Teams meetings or my Webex meetings. So it's creating this better experience for them. And then additionally, if you're using any of these Webex devices, you're now able to use them across two different kind of platforms as well. So there's more of a kind of proof of value to it, because you're able to utilize it within two different platforms additionally. And next, I want to talk about kind of the flip side of it. So what kind of visibility and what kind of enhancements is Webex making for IT in that kind of situation there? So, security is always kind of first and foremost, especially as we talk about people going to these kind of hybrid work environments, right? You have people working outside of your traditional four walls, outside of your network. It's hard to get visibility sometimes into that network or what they're actually doing. So these enhanced features are within Webex, and this is something that Webex and Cisco is each one of their architectures and platforms has security built into it. It's not something that's bolted on that you have to actually get. It's built into it kind of natively. So it's going to protect those users, and it's going to make sure that you're encrypting your data no matter where it is kind of in transit. But it's also going to give those granular controls back to IT, but also make it so you know that where people are working, no matter where they are, they're going to be secure. And then going back to kind of mobile again, talking about what kind of security is built into it, what kind of integrations do they have? So, bring your own device. That's the situation for a lot of people right now. So it's how do I, allow them to, download the Webex application? How do I manage that? How do I make sure if they're leaving the organization, I'm wiping it or whatever from there. So if you have a mobile application manager that protects bring your own device, you can actually, do a device enrollment through it. You can integrate it into your mobile device management kind of platforms as well. So it's creating this better workflow for it, but also creating that security on the mobile side of it as well. So another feature from a security side that they've actually built into it is, sometimes even for compliancy concerns or whatever else, even if your traffic is going to be encrypted through the Webex platform, sometimes if somebody's off the network, right, just for data loss protection concerns, we want to make sure that nobody is sharing any type of intellectual property or sharing any type of information, because people are collaborating through these spaces. So if you have it as an organization where you have a VPN and you want to make sure that nobody's sharing any type of information through the collaboration platform, you can actually prevent those from here. So if somebody's not connected to VPN and I'm trying to share a file with somebody on my team, it's actually going to tell me I'm not able to share this file because I'm not connected to VPN. So now the system's kind of policing itself. You're not having to, as a policymaker or as kind of that IT admin or whatever, having to go back to that user and tell them, hey, you can't do this. The system's kind of policing itself. So it's creating that better user experience, and it's making it a lot easier for you on the IT side because you're not having to police it kind of yourself as well. So next, just wanting to switch gears and look at what is this empowerment for distance learning? What is Cisco and Webex really doing around this hybrid learning experience, and how are we empowering, those remote learning experience for those students, those teachers and administrators, but also, enabling kind of that safe return back to the classroom as well, as we talked about. Same thing kind of on the business side, but how do we get back into the classroom? And then also, how do we give the schools this kind of one tool to manage to easily see and get insights into kind of all their learning needs. So one thing that we did talk about on kind of the commercial side, but also is true, for the education side, is Webex is going to be secure, it's going to be collaborative, and it's going to be a learning platform first most. So ensuring that you can schedule and host classes very easily, simply, and get into them, and it's going to be secure. These breakout features, so being able to go into those breakout rooms. So if you're doing any type of small group learning or maybe student-teacher conferences or anything like that, you're able to go into these breakout rooms. But creating that immersive, engaging experience for these hybrid classrooms, but also thinking about it from the security side, that these virtual and physical classrooms are going to be safe, they're going to be secure, they're going to be encrypted. So you're not really having to worry about that piece of it. So one thing that, with everything that kind of happened and kind of came down, Cisco looked at what the Webex platform could really do. And they had a good kind of feature around their training and event center with being able to get visibility, into who's paying attention, who's coming onto the meetings. But they wanted to really take it one step further. So now they're introducing this Cisco Webex for Classroom. So this is really built for those classroom environments. It's made to keep the students, the teachers, and everyone inside one single platform for them. So they don't have to have all these different tools sitting out everywhere else. So they don't have to worry about it. So really for those students and those teachers, all they're worrying about is just what they're learning, and they don't have to think really about anything else. And that's what Cisco is really trying to create with this Webex Classroom. Now, it is not full release right now. They are in a closed beta, but I believe they're saying that it is going to be released towards the end of this year. But this is really creating that distance learning reimagined, and they're doing it in a closed beta because they're wanting to make sure they're getting all these features correct, right? So as we look at some of the features that they're really building into it, we see these, unified view of all my courses. So if I'm a student, I'm able to see all my courses. I'm able to get my course details. I'm able to look at what continuous learning may have in some areas, but I'm also having that integrated calendar too. So not only for the student, but also for the parent as well. You're able to see what your student's day-to-day looks like. You're actually able to see the integrated calendars as well, and kind of what homework or whatever else they're kind of working on too. One important feature of this that I will point out is these AI assistants. So these automated attendance, these post-class note taking, and actually recording. So you can have these AI assistants do that kind of automated attendance. It can take notes in the class and send them out to the students afterwards. So it's almost like having kind of a little assistant there as well, for that teacher, but it's going to create that better experience for them because they're not really having to do that themselves. So as we look at this Webex for classrooms, what are these key features that they're really working with? So being able to integrate, into Webex Teams for messaging to be able to collaborate back and forth. If I'm, an educator and I want to be able to allow my students to sign in with their institution's credentials, I can then have that integrate into the platform as well. So then I'm actually having them sign in, but I can actually schedule office hours, parent-teacher conferences, but it's all going to sit inside that one platform, so they don't have to go out to their email or something over here or whatever else to find it. It's all going to sit within that one Webex platform. So this is kind of that Webex for education is really that's, what's new, what are we looking at, and really making this distance learning, easy, engaging, and secure, but looking at it from the teacher and student side, what are they able to do? So I'm able to go into those breakout rooms. I'm able to have a secure lobby option. I'm able to have a co-host on that side of it, so they can do any type of hard muting if they need to, or they can kind of, see if there's any type of questions, but they can help me co-host. So if I have somebody who's maybe a teacher aide, they could help me in those situations too. But also, as it's very important, let's look at the IT side of it. So, creating that predefined security templates that are also going to be included with the platform, but also expanding into whatever type of learning management system integrations you have as well. So if you do have an LMS, can I integrate that into the Webex Classroom features? So then I'm making it as an even more single pane of glass kind of feature as well. So just looking at kind of taking a step back and looking at these teachers, those students, the IT admins, and then the parents, what kind of experience are they getting, and why is this kind of hybrid classroom experience with the Webex Classroom going to give them? And that's what we're seeing here, and we're really seeing that it hits across each one of those type of users and those people. So it's really going to help them within those situations where they're trying to go into this hybrid learning experience, but mainly it's all about that user experience on their side, those teachers, those students, and those parents, creating it very an easy environment and single pane of glass for them to be able to go into, and they're not really having to think about what they're doing or learning a new product. It's all about just staying within that single platform for them. So just kind of wrapping up, looking at what the blueprint of the hybrid workplace is. It's creating that secure, remote work environment, but it's also supporting this return to work safely. And that's something that Cisco is really trying to do and trying to create is this safe, return to work, creating these zero touch type of environments. So, as we're going back into the office or back into the classroom, I'm able to use my voice or whatever else to be able to launch into these meetings. So I'm not having to worry about touching anything, cleaning anything or anything else. So I want to thank you all for listening today. I know we had a bunch of information to go through, but I want to see if there's any questions or anything you guys have for me right now, but I appreciate you having me on the call today.
Josh, thanks so much. That was excellent. We do have a question. Our question is from Patrick. The question, I don't know if you can read the Q&A from where you are, but it says, I'm going to read it for everyone. I know that Cisco wants to avoid talking about the Z word company, but most institutions looked at Webex and Teams and chose a different platform for teaching. What compelling use case can Cisco make for those institutions to switch to Webex for instruction besides we do that too, or we'll do that soon? What else do you offer that we don't already have or don't know we are missing?
So from my view, and like I said, I'm may not be as familiar with some of the features that are in some of the other platforms, but from my view, within the education side of it, within the new WebEx kind of classroom, they're creating this single pane of glass kind of feature to be able to have all these integrations in with, like we said, the LMS platforms and everything kind of from there. But additionally, one feature that I've heard that Cisco WebEx has is on the actual kind of attendance side. So if people are coming, or if students are coming into a classroom kind of environment, you're actually able to get some analytics back within Control Hub to actually show, hey, is this student kind of paying attention, or do they have it minimized, in the background? So it can actually show an after report saying that, this student had the WebEx pulled up or it was minimized, 50% of the time. So you're actually able to see who's paying attention. So I've seen that as being kind of a feature that's very important, especially in these hybrid environments. If the student doesn't have a camera, maybe their bandwidth isn't good enough to have them on video, you're still able to get some of that analytics back as well. But it's just adding in all these different kind of features as well into it. And mainly one of the big differentiators for Cisco is really going to be that security. So creating these secure platforms and making sure that as we talk about, some of like Babel Labs, for example, all that processing is going to be done locally, where some of the other competitors in our environments, they have to send out that information to a third-party cloud. So you're having to deal with what kind of compliancy concerns do I have there. So it's kind of looking at all these types of features, but looking at it all under one stack within the Cisco stack.
Thanks so much, Josh. We have two more questions.
Sure.
Rob is asking, what kinds of educational discounts does Cisco offer to nonprofits and educational institutions? Are you making your platform available through TechSoup.org?
So I may have to follow up on that one with you because I'm not sure if it's going to be available on TechSoup. I just don't want to answer offhand. So Nicole, if that one's fine, I can take that one offline and follow up.
Fantastic. And you'll notice that Josh's contact information is up on the screen. So you are welcome to contact Josh as well.
Yep.
We have another question. What type of camera and video inputs are supported? Do you support NDI in or out?
So I'd have to check on that side, to be honest with you. I usually handle more of kind of the WebEx platform, not necessarily some of the hardware and integration. So I apologize by not kind of knowing some of the integration questions right now. So I will kind of follow up with you on that side of it to see what cameras we can follow up with.